Hello everybody and welcome to the next episode of Top Talks. Today I'm really happy to host the CEO of BCR, Sergiu Manea, a very open and, how should I call it, and open person. Welcome, Sergiu.
Thank you very much for having me, Sotiris. I'm really happy being here and actually very, very curious. So
great. I'll make sure that I'll come up with something valuable for that. Before going any further, I would like to say again that because of the times we live, we have taken care of all the safety measures in order to make sure that all the health certificates are taken care of. And before starting, I would like to share with you the rules of this game that we're going to play today. So the idea is that we have a set of questions, 5 categories. You choose the category. Each question bears points. And the goal here is to reach more than 100 points. If you reach more than 100 points, then 10 books that you are offering will go to the CEO's Back to School project that we have. And hopefully we will begin in September with the physical presence of students at schools.
By the way, students are coming back in today.
Coming back, yes, but with exams and everything, it's not the right time to call us. Usually they're calling us in September.
Absolutely. Well, I think it's a great initiative, and I believe that I want to be part of the moment when we distribute books to the school.
Great. We can get even better. You can be part of the first group of CEOs the first school that we will visit in September.
That's very nice. So it's a deal.
Super. Okay, Thank great. You. So, shall we start?
Please.
Great. So, first choice is yours.
Okay, so let's break the ice. Personal.
For 15 points, and mind you, the more the points, the more difficult the question.
Of course.
Okay, so for 15 points, I want to ask you, when in life have you felt the most alone?
Wow.
We're starting with the tough ones.
Yeah. I don't know. I had moments when I felt alone throughout my life. I don't know, in front of a big exam, I think when I was going for the exam in the high school, in the military school actually, and I had to go to that military school, which was in Câmpul Moldovenesc, and I was for the first time alone and in a very competitive environment. And despite the fact that there were hundreds of kids who were also going for the exam, and as I was going, I really felt alone, very far from my nest, meaning from my mother and my father, and somehow I felt alone in a crowd. Then, when I was going through the exam in the university, again, although I had friends and we had a very, very nice group in the high school, then when it came to, okay, we have to start preparing for the university exams, and it was still 1989. I was going for the exams in 1990 when I was graduating the high school. But I really felt alone. I had to learn by heart lots of stuff. And I said, what am I going to do? Everybody else is better, or they are getting better prepared. And I really felt alone. And I think I learned to cope with this as I was also traveling quite a lot and I was living in different cities. But it comes to my mind one moment when I really felt alone. I was working in 3 cities, Vienna, Munich, and London. And one night I was in London, and I woke up and I wanted to go and have some water, literally have some water, not going to the toilet, but really drink water. I was thirsty, and I didn't know where I am in that moment.
Yeah.
I just couldn't find the kitchen. I mean, I said, where am I? Is it Munich? Is it?
I know what you're saying.
And I really said, what am I doing here? I mean, of course, this went for 30 seconds. I had the water. I went to sleep because I knew that at 5:15 I have to woke up so I can be in the office at 5:30, 5:45. I was living really very close to the bank. But otherwise, I was blessed in the sense that I had always amazing people around me. And when I had that feeling, I always had someone to reach out. So, you know, and that's really great.
But after this journey, you have become friends with the loneliness. So now being a CEO, it doesn't bother you that much.
I think you know, there is a saying that the loneliest career point is the one when you are a CEO, because you are really alone. Well, I don't think it's true. I think, at the end of the day, you are the one taking or supposed to take the decisions, especially in the split moments, right? In the difficult moments. But the big question is, are you taking it as a cross you need to bear, and you create a profile out of it, or you are basically make people being part of this decision? So no, I don't think I'm becoming friends with the loneliness, because I don't think it's a glory title in being alone. I think we are human beings, and human beings long for each other. So I'm trying to educate myself even now to reach out. And I think that this is actually not my resistance to loneliness, but my reaction to loneliness.
Okay.
But I have to say, I have moments when I'm saying, it's so good to be alone. I don't want to see anything. I don't want to think anything. I just want to be myself. And actually, my neighbor from the first floor witnesses that moment, because the music is very, very loud. So.
Okay. I feel you. I totally feel you. Great. So 15 points are yours. That's a good way to start.
Thank you very much.
Who is Sergiu?
Well, I mean, Sergiu is a person. Is a being, a human being, I dare to say. And it's someone who learned to have the luxury of being curious, of learning. Now I'm learning the threads and the luxury of having candor and taking the things the way they are, and trying to connect with people, learn from them, irrespective who they are or what I do, to observe. I'm trying to be kind of as present as possible to my, I have to say, to my benefit. And if me being happy makes other people happy, that's really great. And actually that enriches me. I was not always like that, right? I'm coming from quite a normative family, right? My father was a career military officer, and my mom an accountant. So both of them very precise and very planned in the things they did.
Everything was in order.
Yes, I don't know who was the officer in my family, my father or my mother. I'm still debating that with them.
We all know.
But fact of the matter is, what I got from this was respect for cleanness, for discipline. But in time, I realized that actually the best discipline is the one you undertake, and it's the accountability and responsibility of your gestures and the things you do. And it's not necessarily the power of the chain of command which makes a person, but it's how that person contributes and creates impact. Because again, I'm a human being, and I believe the fact that the human beings are created to be together.
Yep.
And this is what I learned, and this is what I am learning. And I pay lots of attention to what people tell me or what I hear from people, as I said, irrespective of the fact that they are, irrespective of their, let's say, social position. And for me, that's a great, great, great joy. I never get bored, I have to say, Sotiris. I get from everywhere. I only hope that I also am able to give. Yeah. So
it's a philosophy in life, what you just described.
Yeah.
It's a choice, we all make choices.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's also very important to understand how do you make the choice, right? Is it because it's a push choice? Or it's a choice you make because actually you evolve and that makes you happy. And I went through a big period of my life when I was making choices according to the norms, right? Probably now, with the point in my career I am at, I should probably say, there are sets of rules and norms, and this is how we make choices now. It's you don't push life, you lead life, and that means that you have to be open. And if this is what I come around, as you described me in your opening words, I'm happy.
You are giving me a great reason to deviate from the normal way that we do the interviews, because at the end of the day, the idea is to provide as more useful content for the viewers of this interview. So I will give you points, don't worry about it.
No.
I'm the holder of the points, so I
no,
can do
you are the
whatever
holder of the point, so I am at peace with this.
Okay,
so
great.
Don't worry.
So don't worry about it. And let me ask you something, because you touched upon a very, very sensitive point. I'm a certified coach, and one thing I can tell you from my interaction with the coaches, which are people like you, business leaders, many of them have raised that point. My question to them always, and my question to you is, can you remember the tipping point when you change the way you prioritize things and you make decisions, and the way you make decisions, from facts to something more than that?
I think it's for me at least is rather the story with the glass, right? It's half full, it's half empty. It depends on what you focus, right? So no, I'm not able to. First of all, I'm not able to identify the tipping point. For me, it's a very powerful question, the one you are asking me, and the only answer I can tell you is that it's about evolution. Mm-hmm. I love, for different reasons now. So, for example, a couple of years ago or many years ago, when going to bed, I was thinking, okay, what did I do wrong during the day? I should have done better this, I should have done better that. It was not a normative thought. There were just thoughts which were coming to my mind, right? And I said, no, I have to act differently. I have to take a decision differently. I didn't take this into consideration when I took the decision. Somehow in time, because I was feeling lots of pressure, right? I cannot actually blame the environment for that pressure. I can only, in between the quoted marks, blame myself for that amount of pressure. Then I said, okay, but is it something I learned today? And from the moment when I was
you changed the question?
Yeah, I changed the question, right? But it was not science. It was just, if you like, as we said that we are going to be very open to that. It was my continuous hunt for the things which I didn't think about, right? And suddenly I realized that actually if I really want to surprise a bigger amount of variables, I need to turn the table. I need to change the question. And I thought to myself, yeah, that's really smart. And I said, how do I turn the table in order to have a bigger view, a more concrete view, maybe to surprise vulnerabilities, because I was still on the vulnerability side. I'm not making any kind of a beautiful story here. I said, okay, what is it that I need to look at? And I said, okay, what do I learn? What did I learn today? What I think I'm going to learn tomorrow? I think that was the moment when I changed the question. Actually, changing the question and staying with that question made me change the narrative, my own behavioral narrative, and by that also my own narrative. But it's a matter of evolution. I'm not able to identify a tipping point. Yeah. I was obsessed, and I have to say I have moments when I am obsessed with, do I see the entire picture? What are the risks? What is it that I need to pay attention to? No, I didn't do well enough. I need to do better. I still have those moments, but I always am able to get out of that, not get out of that, but harness that energy by putting the question, okay, what did I learn? What did I learn from the people around me? What can we learn collectively? Where will that lead us to? I've seen there is here in Floreasca, I don't know exactly the building, but a friend of mine just told me 2 weeks ago. There is a painting on a building which apparently was supported by us. And it's a very nice, stylish, let's say, urban art painting about George, right? But there is a very nice thing which is written in there. It said, I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I will. So I think that we always forget this, to basically say, what is it that we are trying to solve? What's our aspiration? Let's go in that direction, and then we will see how we get, because in fact, we don't know. And we can plot as many variables as we can, and by that, as many future scenarios as we can. None of them is going to be real.
Yeah. I think the main problem is generated because when we set a target, especially a long-term one, we focus on the target, whereas we should be focusing on the process.
Exactly. So this is what I wanted to say. So if I would be able to play with two words, I would say that I moved from the daily achievements or lack of those to daily discovery. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually very, very happy. I'm very comfortable with the idea of daily discovery.
Great. So for all that, I'll give you another 20 points easy.
Okay.
Okay. Just because it's the maximum, I would give you more, but it's the maximum.
Thank you very
Let's go for the next category.
Okay, as we were becoming almost pathetic and emotional, let's go to funny.
Okay, let's go to funny. For 10 points, share with us a hilarious moment in your career. Something that has happened that was really funny.
Wow, funny. Funny in my career. Well, I have to think about it. I'm not a funny guy, so...
But
let me think of something funny. Okay, I can tell you something funny. I was, so we were in the financial crisis. I know I shouldn't say about that with funny terms. So, but so it's financial crisis. It's November. I was on the trading floor, and then my boss calls me in his office and says, "You go to Moscow." I said, "What am I going to do in Moscow?" He said, "You will go there, take lots of clothes. Hopefully you come back on Christmas." And I said, "But what am I supposed to do there?" He says, "You have to look and see." And okay, we entered into technicalities. Good, I understood. And I said, "Everybody is waiting for you there. It's all great." So I get to Moscow. I get to the place where I was supposed to work at. Hello. I had a good relationship with the people. And then I am being put in a hotel very close to the bank, very convenient. I had a beautiful room, 6 square meters, with 2 very big windows, which were taking me to the corridor, getting to the kitchen.
Okay.
The room was full of the smell from the kitchen. So I can tell you that in 3 weeks, I took my clothes, I think almost 12 times to the cleaners in order to take the smell out. What I didn't realize is actually that the smell was coming into my into my skin. And I will always remember that laughing, talking about an unfortunate chain of events and feeling unwelcome from the moment actually you exit the office of your boss. I always look back with lots of nostalgia to that moment, but I cannot not say it was not funny to me, and I'm actually even laughing alone when I'm picturing actually the enter into the room and trying to get the smell out. I think that was one of the funny moments. Not that funny, but to me very funny and very dear in the same time. So I don't feel any remorse. Fun facts actually for me was always related to my own image of the proportion of certain things versus what really mattered. I remember when I was coming in BCR, Ziarul Financiar published actually that I'm going to join BCR probably couple of days after I had a meeting, and I said, okay, I will join before signing the contract. Now, at that time, I was working in a fund, and that fund was managing institutional money. And we didn't do the disclosure at the time when Ziarul Financiar made the disclosure. To me, it was kind of a catastrophe. It was catastrophic. And then I called basically my contact in Erste Group, and I said, look, I mean, the board member at that time, and I said, look, I mean, it's a very difficult situation. It's very delicate. How it is possible? How can we actually mend that? And he said, it was very sweet. He said, look, Sergiu, I mean, it's a big organization. There are no secrets. So this is something which comes with the territory. So you have to get used to it. And he was smiling, actually. I could feel him on the phone smiling, but not in a demeaning manner. It's in a really comforting one. And then I started smiling as well. So for me, always it's fun, and I always smile when I'm thinking about not giving the proper weight, even at my own little history level. No, not that funny, but I have no other funny things.
Nice. So another 10 points are yours.
Okay, thank you.
Next one.
I feel you are not laughing, but I am smiling. So
listen, I've been in banking for several years, so I know that for banking, this is a joke. This is a funny situation, so don't worry about it.
Thank you. Good. Okay, as we are talking career, let's finish with the career chapter.
Okay. Another 15 points.
Oh.
What do you consider to be your biggest mistake so far, and what lessons did you learn from it?
Biggest mistake for me was I can tell you, because actually it's a very nice story. I don't know if it was the biggest or but it's for me the biggest reference, and it's again related to approach. Mm-hmm. In 2017, we put together we said we need to create the North, right? And we worked for a year and say how would the bank look like, and we created a goalpost which is called BCR 2020. Mm-hmm. And for 2018 we managed to identify a number of 6+1 priorities. Always it's 6+1, so it was for us, and we repeated quite a lot, and one of them was related to a process, to a process performance. One particular process performance. For the first time, we had all of us the feeling, and I'm not talking about management board, but I'm talking about a bank, that we understand the priorities and we are delivering no matter what. But then in June, July, when we always do our review, are we doing well, are we doing not well, and so on and so forth, and we had this review on that particular process point. We were not coming inside the process performance we were looking at, and I really put lots of pressure. But like serious pressure. I'm not shouting. No, I never do that. It's out of my remit, but and my emotional remit, so to say. But I was putting pressure, and I thought it's normal. I don't know if you know Eleni Scoura.
No,
Eleni Scoura is one of our business leaders in the bank, right? And she was in charge in delivering that. And after that particular meeting, someone came to me and said, "You must be really out of your mind." I said, "Why?" I said, "You are really, really, really putting a huge amount of pressure on Eleni. And it's not worth. You have to understand. You have to adapt, and you really have to understand if what you are asking, although it's put on paper, and we all said it's right, it's what you should do." I said, I was thinking, yes, what nonsense. We are just not able to deliver. Again, going back to the daily achievement type of. And then I was looking at her, and I was really very confrontational, right? I said, "But why don't you tell me that?" And she looked at me and said, "Because you don't want to listen." So where did that lead to? That led to actually that we were starting a really massive transformation program in Becere, which is basically based on a different type of engagement, on a different type of thinking. That actually, along with the George launch in October 2018, enabled a big part of the company to actually come in the 21st century. But actually the one who should have come first in the 21st century probably should have been me. But I was blind. I was blind by our own success. And the fact that we are able to identify priorities, which were the right priorities, and execute them at any cost. So I have to thank Eleni, and I have to apologize to Eleni in the same time. That moment was a tipping point for me. And if there was a mistake, because you asked me about a mistake, was that I was indeed not open. I was stubborn and I was opaque, and I was blinded by our collective success, or the way we defined the success at that time. The fact that we are able to identify priorities and we are able to deliver them. But then I realized it's about creating a river, it's about creating a flow. And
Eleni, we need to meet at some point. And
you will talk Greek. And she's an amazing person, by the way, and she's way funnier than me. So when and if you meet her, you'll realize that bankers can be funny.
Great, I'm sure. And if it, and I'm sure you know, if it makes you feel any better, you should be happy that you were able, even at that point, to see what was happening, what was not working, and you had the courage to correct it. Because it's not the norm. Many leaders, they either don't see, they refuse to see the moment, or even if they see it, they don't have the courage to go in and say, you know what, perhaps I was wrong, let's restructure, let's redesign, let's rethink.
Well, I am lucky with my DNA because, in fact, as I said at the beginning, I think we belong together as human beings, and I love people and I love listening to them. Although at times I'm blinded, but I try to open my eyes.
It's part of the game.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
We are making decisions every day with not all the information. By default, the instinct and it works a lot in the decision-making process.
No, but that's exactly the point. And the fact of the matter is that when you go and look at what's going on in terms of how people interact and how the things are done, we talk a lot about the why. We talk a lot about the purpose. And by the way, I think it's very fashionable to talk about the why, right? And it's also very interesting to talk about the what, because we believe that this is the what defines the value proposition of our features. I think it's about the how. And how means basically not necessarily how we are putting together parts of the processes, but how we put the people together. And that, yes, they need a purpose, they need a reason for that, and that's an enormous catalyst, right? And creates that individual objective. But if you are defeating that individual objective by the everyday journey and by the everyday type of engagement or quality of engagement, we are lost. Yeah. And that was in fact my anchor. My anchor was, if we are reaching what we need with all the pressure, why aren't we happy collectively? Great.
Then, again, I don't know how you do that, but you get me to add points to the points of the card. So okay. I'll give you 20 this time, okay?
Yeah, I think it's a trick, because actually the 100 points deliver 10 books, not the 100 points deliver only 5 books. And I think you are thinking about the benefit of the schools.
I don't know what you're talking about, really. I don't know.
I'm joking, okay. I'm joking. Please.
Great. Next one.
Let's talk about leadership, because we talked career and we touched leadership. Let's talk about leadership.
For 10 points,
please.
How do you keep your employees or team members keen and motivated?
Whoa, hard. This is an ever-evolving story, right? It's an ever-evolving story. I think our duty as leaders mine, Dana's, Eleni's, Elke's, Ilinka's, Thomas, Anna, another Anna, Colleen, and so on. I could say 100 names, right? 100 names, easy. Is actually to create context and also keep us in check when we are abating, if you like, from the context we are trying to create. We are human beings, right? We have good moments and we have bad moments. We have moments when our need for control takes the best of us, when our need to be directive or solve problems takes the best of us. I think my role, as you asked me about my role, is to create this context and make sure that we are all observant to a cooperative context, to a context full of candor, to a context which enable us to see the impact and not the task. As I said at the beginning, daily achievement, tasks, journey, and impact. Mm-hmm. I think that moving our community, our BCR community, equally, colleagues and clients, towards impact and towards the value of the impact, this is what keeps us motivating. Because, I am lucky being part of a company which, has a purpose, has a statement of purpose for the last 200 years, right? And we say we wanna contribute, we wanna facilitate the creation of prosperity wherever we act. So this is a very, very strong purpose. Now, the question always is, how do you create the context? How do you create the appropriate behaviors that you transport that in the everyday move? And definitely when you talk about purpose and prosperity, but prosperity in the wider sense, right? Prosperity in the wider sense means I love life. That's what it's all about. I can progress. I can develop, right? When you not create a company or an organization, or when you are not trying, at least trying, which is consistent and integral with this purpose, then the purpose disappears. So I think keeping people motivated is being yourself. Mm-hmm. I don't talk to my colleagues different than when I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to customers different than I'm talking to you. And I think we made progress. Colleagues were making kind of proposals, and I think we are moving in that direction, why we should have a separate narrative for our customers versus our colleagues. We should have one single narrative. Mm-hmm. There is, and actually, those are the small little signs which I think are creating motivation. I think something good is happening because I see it as part of our employer branding, and then even more than that, as part of our recruitment efforts, right? I think it's easier for us to recruit today than it was in the past. I think when we are publishing, especially we are publishing ads, or when we are looking for people, there are lots of questions mm-hmm. which are coming to already existing colleagues in the bank. And I think we are going to make a step forward there, and we are going to try to create a network and a community, not necessarily of BCR, but what we try to achieve and mm-hmm. we try to do there. So this is, I think keeping people motivated is making them part of something. And that something is not only the purpose, the headline, it's the way we do things and the impact we are planning and recognizing that impact and being very cognizant of that. So,
and being proud about it.
Of course. Yeah. I'm not a big celebrator, and this is one of the things I hear. I mean, from my colleagues, especially Dana. Dana tells me, and you know Dana. Dana tells me, said, Sergiu, you need to smile and we need to celebrate more. And I said, okay, I promise I'll do that. So this is something I still need to learn. First of all, for myself, so I'll be authentic when talking about celebrating and about being proud of the things we do. Somewhere deep down inside my soul, it's still that we are not doing enough, that we can be better than we can, so this is something I still need to work on.
One of the most common advices that coaches give to leaders is celebrate your successes. Take a little time, celebrate it, anchor the moment, move on.
But again, I think one needs to learn to do that in an authentic manner. So what I learned in the last years is not to resist to celebration. It's a big step.
Okay, good.
Forward.
It's a step forward, so we take it.
But I really hope, because I think that I'm gonna get to that point where this will come from inside me.
Great. So these 10 points are yours.
Thank you.
Next category?
Yeah, we have, I don't know what can I say about inspirational category, but as I said, I'm coming from a normative family. I think we should cover all the points before we move to others.
Okay.
So inspirational.
For 10 points, what is the one mistake you witness leaders making more frequently than others?
I think it depends on the cycle, right? Not on the personal cycle, but on the small cycles which I witnessed in my career. I think pretending to know it all, I think it's probably the most common mistake we all do. Having an opinion on everything and trying to direct the things, actually not direct, problem solve in a certain direction and getting our hands into that. It's not because the result is good or bad, because we don't know. But by doing that, you are in fact disengaging cohorts of people. So not people, 2, 3, how many people we are, cohorts of people around you. It's very disengaging, right? As I'm not judging the result. It can be the best ever result. It doesn't matter. You are still disengaging people. So this is one. And the second one is pretending being something you are not. Living by so-called standards of standards of the moment, standards of leadership of the moment, which in fact make you depart from yourself. These are the two.
Dealing with business leaders, having them as members in our club. I'm doing this for the last 12 years, so I've met many people. One thing I have come to realize is that in 99% of the times, people are not responsible for that, and they don't do that intentionally. They are most of the times forced, in a way, to enter that role, that stereotype of a leader who has to know everything, although it's impossible, everybody knows that, but they have to, because there are so many stakeholders behind who expect them to know everything. And as a result, they take on that role that they find after a while, it becomes a second nature. So what we have realized, getting these people in and giving them 2 hours in one of the meetings, the club meetings, where they can actually leave that role outside the door, is that they find it quite difficult at the beginning, but they get it very soon, that they really appreciate that somebody's giving them the opportunity to go back to their real, authentic self for 1 or 2 hours in a room where other people are doing the same thing,
Yeah, I think
I'm saying that to the defense of CEOs.
No. It's. I think first of all, I think this is a great thing you are doing, because you are, in my humble opinion, touching 2 important root causes of, or probably ways to solve this, which is in fact listening and sharing. So active listening and sharing. We have the feeling, and by the way, what I said is things which I practiced, that I'm very, very clear. I still practice them from time to time, and I try to actually be very cognizant of that and get myself better, because actually practicing those 2 threads doesn't make me happy, and I'm just trying to get into a point where I feel very comfortable and very happy. So it's equally directed to me, not only to others, right? But going back, active listening and sharing, it's an act of courage. Active listening is an act of courage. Sharing, it's an act of courage. Next step, caring, is an act of courage. Why? Because the CEOs because of the pressure of the stakeholder, because the peer pressure, because of the bottom-up pressure which comes, they have the portrait, standard portrait in their heads, my head included. You are alone, you have to take decision, you bear all the responsibility, you bear all the ultimate responsibility. And you don't have time. Well, it's not like that. First of all, we have time. Second, I firmly believe that in front of the stakeholders, we can project power, like real power, which means sustainability of operations, which means innovation, which means progress, if we can actually show that our people, not our people, personal people, the closest, let's say, partners, but the cohorts of people working with us, they project that sustainability, innovation, progress, impact, value. This is what I firmly believe in. But in order to encourage them, we have to practice differently. And as I said, for me, all starts from the basis. Listening, sharing, caring, learning, curiosity, impact, and all under the umbrella of candor. It's important to learn ourselves how to ask difficult questions and how to answer to difficult questions. Because when a difficult question is asked to us by one of our colleagues, is the easiest way to actually damage the goods, because we will be very defensive, or most of the time we'll be very defensive, and we will push back. Actually, this is what we need to do, is like in skiing. When you are on a very steep slope, you lean to the valley. If you lean to the hill, you fall.
Yeah. Thank you. Great. These 10 points are yours.
Thank
so
you.
we have another 15 points to go.
15
Next
points
question.
to go. I don't know. I'm not going to try funny again. I don't know. Personal. So we close with personal.
Let's see what the card holds.
Okay. If it holds 15 points, if it doesn't.
It doesn't. It doesn't. To my defense, I'm not adding any more points, but this is only 5.
Okay. Good.
So, how would your family and friends describe you?
Wow.
Be honest.
I am honest. My children are telling me that I should show more emotions and be more open. My mom and my dad, the same. So I have a lot to learn. It's not what they would say, it's what they are saying. My friends will take me, I think, for a kind, funny person. So I need to practice more, I think, on my relationship with my children and with my parents. That's my answer.
Okay. Great. Thank you. 5 points are yours. Next category.
Okay, leadership. So hopefully we get the 15 points. So
5 points.
5 points.
What are the 3 most important factors you consider when hiring somebody?
Well, openness. I think this is the most important thing. Then willingness, and then third is the ability to own her identity of the role, identity as a person, and the confidence in this. Because in my opinion, these are 3 key enablers of a team player. I left aside any technical aspects because they are supposed to be part of a different, let's say, route. Yeah, these are the 3 things.
Okay. Do you also believe in hire for character and train for skill?
I think so. I think so. No, I think so. There is a Navy SEAL legend which goes around. I think also one of the kind of big leadership authors were mentioning is that basically the statistics are showing that after the bad scores, it's actually not the top 20% athletes are being retained, but the top 20% characters of the ones of the ones graduating are being retained, because it is about the inner true trust you have in the one near you. And as you know, trust is a two-way street. You give trust, you receive trust. It's like in a relationship. You have to work on that.
It's like respect.
Yes. So exactly. So I would say, Sotiris, yes, that character is very important, but in a very wider sense, right? Because you can have solitary great characters, and I think we are past that point. You need open characters, which basically it's a difference in between transparency and openness, right? Openness means really sharing. Transparency means here I am. We need sharers, as I said a little bit earlier. We need carers. We need people who offer themselves and not the tasks or the things they do.
Great, thanks. So to the last question, because it cannot be less than 5 points, we are missing 5 points, so we're there.
Okay, inspirational.
For 5 points.
Absolutely.
What was one of your most defining moments in life?
I mean,
I never said we're here for the easy questions.
No, but this is quite a difficult question. In fact, it's one of the questions I'm running away, because for me every day is defining and every encounter is defining. As I said, I learned from all of them. But defining moment. For me, I go for the recent history, right? One of the small little defining moments which I had recently, I cannot say. I mean, for me, the birth of Luca and Petru were defining moments. I mean, to be very, very clear. These are defining moments. And I'm still learning how to go about that, right? I mean, Luca is 20, Petru is 17. And every meeting with them and every talk to them is defining for me, because I learn, and I'm trying to be open. As I said, there are things which I need to practice better. But look, something which happened during the pandemic. You know, it's about the way, in an autonomous manner, 5,500 people, based on guidelines, actually managed to come around and say, we will take care of ourselves and we will take care of our customers. For me, that's an amazing example of collective rallying behind the role, behind an idea. It's one of the most referential moments of my professional career. How shall I put it? Pandemic is bad. It was very bad, but for my colleagues and for myself, was probably one of the best years we had. And it's not because of the financial performance of our company. It's because of what we felt, or due to, or thanks to what we felt together in doing things together from wherever we were at. Mm-hmm. So this is one point of 2020. The other point of 2020 was that I started a quest on my own. I felt somehow the urge to say, okay, where I am at. And I was working with two people I respect a lot. I actually met them for this exercise, Mark and Yanis. So one of them is great. And we went through hours and hours of discussions, hours and hours of what is it that you want, where do you think you are not good and where do you think you are bad? Where do you think you want to evolve? And it was an exercise which we started in March. We somehow concluded in September, not concluding meaning that we stopped, but it's a lot of process and a lot of work. And this was for me an amazing exercise. It's like not everything which was cloudy became clear to me, but it's an amazing journey. So it was a defining moment for me because I said, if I want to discover that, I have to discover it by myself. And finding these two companions on this journey was really, really amazing. Yeah. So.
And the most beautiful part, I can assure you, is the one that follows. Because once you start doing this, there's no ending.
No, there is no ending.
And so every time, it's like a movie, it's like a movie you love, and every time you watch it, you discover something new. This is how it works.
Yeah, absolutely.
And one becomes addicted to discovering things and becoming a better version of himself. It's amazing.
Yeah, and as I said, I didn't have this. I didn't have this in head. I said I want to get better and so on and so forth. I said, I think it would be good if I would have this moment of putting mirrors, and obviously I need someone to hold my hand, so I'm not going to run away from the mirrors or find excuses not to be in front of the mirror. But then I realized that actually the value of companionship, the value of sharing in such an exercise is actually much, much, much beyond the mirror factor. So I'm really grateful to them, and I'm actually very happy that I did that choice. Again, maybe for the wrong reason at that time, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter. As long as you do the right thing, it doesn't really matter.
Exactly. So
great. Thank you so much. Congratulations. You just reached 100 points.
Thank you very
will
much.
Make 10 students really happy.
I will.
And as we discussed and agreed, you will be there to give away the books yourself.
Absolutely. I'll be very honored and very happy to be there.
Great. So, Sergiu, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your openness and honesty. And knowing you, I wasn't expecting something different, to be honest with you, because one of the things I really admire about you is your openness and you being normal. And in our club, being normal is a prerequisite. It's the biggest prerequisite in order for somebody to be considered to be a member. So thank you very much for that.
No, thank you very much. And I can assure you I'm smiling from the bottom of my heart, and I feel light as a feather. So thank you very much, Sotiris, for taking the best out of me.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for being with us for that episode with the CEO of BCR, Sergiu Manea. And see you soon to our next episode.